Hello and welcome to yet another episode of League of Logistics Legends, hosted by Trajera Solutions. I am your host Shalini for this wonderful session. Just when COVID shocks begin to recede, inflation and war are creating new shockwaves. Companies have been challenged to suppress several kinds of crises back to back in these couple of years. Thus, Indonesia is no lesser as a developing economy to come forward to beat those challenges. It is the largest economy in Southeast Asia and is host to the upcoming G20 summit in November. Today, we have Jakarta-based Kamadjaja Logistics, a company specialized in logistics, forwarding, brokerage, and value-added solutions with over 5 decades of experience. Started in 1968 by Pa Yudi Kamadjaja. Today, the company's clientele includes Unilever, Nestle, Arnott's, to name a few. I welcome Pa Ivan Kamadjaja, who has been residing as the Chief Executive Officer of the company for the past 12 years. Prior to this, he was the director of Kamadjaja for 7 years. Before joining Kamadjaja, he had been associated with KPMG, Arthur Andersen, and Coopers and Lybrand. Once again, I welcome Ivan on board. Hi, Ivan.
Hello, good morning.
Nice to see you.
Nice to see you.
Yeah. You have entered into e-commerce sector a couple of years ago and vouching for more expansion plans ahead. How the sector has defined both the growth and challenges during the pandemic, as e-commerce was in demand, but at the same time, ensuring it reaches on real time was very difficult. How did you do that?
Thank you for the question. So, Kamadjaja Logistics has been around for more than 5 decades. So, our founder, Mr. Hura Kamadjaja, started the business in 1968 with only 2 staffs. And now today we've grown to 1,800 plus employees. So, from a humble beginning, from a domestic freight forwarding, today we have grown into an integrated logistics service provider. So we provide domestic freight forwarding, international forwarding, customs clearance, contract logistics, land transportation or trucking, distribution, also value-added services. Today, we serve more than 200 companies from various industries, FMCG, dairy, telco even. Now, before I get into the e-commerce, if you don't mind, I think it's important for me to mention like that in the beginning, it was back in around 2000. Kamadjaja was a traditional family business. While I personally, I always have interest in technology. Like I took programming courses when I was in senior high school. So to turn Kamadjaja into a modern technology company, I thought it was very important to get a full support from my father. And I was lucky because even though he is not technology literate, but he's an open-minded and a very wise man. So, and he knew that technology was the future. So I finally got his full support. Now, fast forwarding to the e-commerce, I saw the potential in e-commerce in around 2017. So at the time, I was trying to find ways to do the e-commerce related logistics. So I was looking into courier, last mile, e-fulfillment. And in 2019, I got lucky that I met Circlo, who is today, I think, the biggest e-commerce enabler in Indonesia, which was not at the time. And they were at the crossroad, because they at the time they handle everything, including the logistics. And after meeting with Kamadjaja, they decided that they will focus on the business part and sort of work with or partner with Kamadjaja to handle the logistics and delivery. So now what e-commerce enabler does is they basically enable companies to sell online. So, if you have a product you can have the whole IT team and managing all the store management with those e-commerce platforms and connecting to one by one to all of them. But what this e-commerce enabler does is you just need to connect to them and they will do the rest. They already connect to all the platform and they help managing or doing the store management. Now, what Kamadjaja does it is basically all the activity in the warehouse, starting from the order. So we do the picking, packing, and also managing the delivery with the last mile delivery players. Now, apparently it's a different animal because we used to ship palletized products, but then what we do with this e-commerce, it's now the key success at the time I thought was I needed to have a very strong team and a very reliable system, which apparently we didn't have at the time. Because again, I mean, apparently doing all this piece picking is very, very different from what we used to do. Now we work with Orient Pro for 7 years, and my team was very happy with them. Now, as you know, when my team happy, then I'm happy because they deliver great products, basically the system, and also they have a fast response. They give fast response, very reliable. So we decided that we will again work with Orient Pro to do all the customization required. So after working days and nights for about 4 to 6 months, finally the team was able to deliver the customized system for e-commerce. We did the full testing and it worked very well, and it helped us a lot, obviously. And also, I mean, for my team, it took us about 2 months to basically familiarize and really understand the process, until we can start making some process improvements and the cost savings. And then, and it was, I remember about August 2019. And as we all know, the COVID hit in March 2020. And it's one of the sector which was positively impacted from unfortunately, this pandemic. But I mean, like all around the world, e-commerce just grow exponentially, and also Indonesia, it basically help and expedite almost or many sectors in going digital. I don't usually buy my grocery from online, but and also my wife, but we sort of learn and we did, and it becomes the new normal. So we started from a small operation, about 2,500 square meter, and today we manage, I think, around 15,000 square meter. And then this year we project to double our e-commerce department, and yeah, we still see a strong growth, probably not as high as last year, but it's there. It's going to be there. And also Indonesia with 17,000 plus island, where I'm looking into the growth potential in outside Java.
With the usage of our cloud platform, SCMProFit, how are you able to manage your warehousing business sustainably, securely, and enhance digital capabilities?
So these cloud systems like SCMProFit has greatly help us on managing our need for secure storage and reliable computing power without direct active management from our side. Now, on another note, the SaaS as a service model is easily accessible and need less time to deploy. So we talk about scalability and also the ability to integrate with other servers is also the reason why we choose SaaS to handle our critical business application. So like I mentioned about the security, it covers the data security, data protection, also the access control.
Could you highlight on what are the value-added services you offer and on your Project Cargo business? Again, is it monitored through SCMProFit?
So one of our service is the Project Cargo, and we define Project Cargo as a non-containerized, extra large products. For example, like autoclave or the big machines that needs to assemble. So we have been doing this Project Cargo since 1997. Now, moving and shipping this kind of item is they need a special handling, special equipment, special expertise. And we need to really work with the timeline, with the tight timeline. Now, using the SCMProFit system has really helped us from order booking, and then also the planning, the routing, as well as tracing and tracking, because it needs special attention and handling to be able to deliver this Project Cargo. So yeah, SCM has greatly helped us in successfully delivering these projects.
So I got a prompt question now to ask. When you said you started your Project Cargo business in 1997, 1997 was an era where digital understanding was very low. So what was the business at then and now? Because now you have deployed digitization and at that time. So you can say what were the challenges you faced right at that time, and now how it has evolved, how it has made your business more efficient with digitization.
Right. I mean, back then, 1997, I would say almost no technology. We haven't even used computer. We don't even have a computer in our office. So everything is done manually. So it's really hard for coordination, basically relying on phones and faxes. It took time to do all that. And then also controlling and monitoring was also practically almost or very challenging to do. Now, when we use the system, we really it really helped us in the coordination, because we use the everything we put in the system, and then our team in the back office, in the head office, can help monitor and coordinate and communicate, basically to solve, because the Project Cargo is very different in the handling. So there can always be any issues or problems at any time. Now, having being able to communicate and then use the system to monitor if there is any delay, and then to inform the client, also the reporting, that really improve our the speed for coordination and productivity.
That's good to hear that. How are you deploying digitization in your e-commerce expansion plans? Because you are trying to expand your e-commerce business. So how are you trying to deploy it? How it has helped to turn around your freight forwarding business and TMIS integration?
For our e-commerce expansion, I think for today, we are quite comfortable in doing and expanding our fulfillment center service. Well, Indonesia currently is growing rapidly, but as we all know, we are a few years behind from countries like US, China, Japan. So I still see the potential growth. In addition to that, business models in relation to the e-commerce is also very dynamic. Okay, I still see yet to come is like e-distributor. This is something new, and I see several startup companies trying to do that. Now that's another huge potential because if it works, and today we are actually already, we won several tenders, and we are currently operating two, I would say such model. And there's a phase 2 in 9 cities. So there's this company trying to implement this new model, and that's one. Now, secondly, there's also what they call the fulfillment service. This is a different kind of e-commerce operation whereby the brand owner, they can put their products, let's say in our warehouses, in let's say outside Java or any city that they don't have the team. Now that helps. Basically, it's like a hub. It's like hoteling, but for e-commerce. So it helps them in to speed up the delivery. So let's say if I have a warehouse in Sumatra, in Medan, the brand owner can put their products in my warehouse, and then whenever they receive order from the e-commerce platform, they can directly give instruction to us, and then we will deliver possibly the same day, which is impossible to do when you deliver from Java to Sumatra. So that's another, I would say, big potential. Now, this e-commerce may not directly relate to our freight forwarding and transport management TMS system, but we use the system extensively. For example, in our freight forwarding, for a few years, we already been using the system starting from the booking order, and then for the job planning and execution, and then to invoicing. While for our TMIS, we have been also using it for several years. Again, starting from the booking order, and then the transport planning and scheduling, and then this is important, the route planning and optimization, and then transport monitoring, and then the EPOD, then the invoice. Yeah, so like EPOD is something not really new, but haven't been extensively used in Indonesia transportation sector, and I hope this is something that can be deployed in the future, because that really helps to speed up the process and also invoicing for the forwarding companies.
So, Jabito, next question. It's a generic question, but it is a more valid question at this era. That is, the world economy had just recovered in 2021 from the COVID-19 pandemic. That is when Russia invaded Ukraine on Feb 24th. How is the war impacting your business, as increasing fuel prices will hurt, obviously, the consumers' purchasing power, affecting the economic development and businesses too?
Right. Now, the war has impacted few commodities, certain products, and also obviously fuel. Now, this has created a sudden shortage in the supply and increase in demand again for certain commodities and products. So some of our customers, they have to reduce their production, and then also because of the increase, sudden increase in the raw material, in some ways they at some point they needed to increase their prices, which potentially will lower down their sales. But in our customers, we see yes, there are some of them who are impacted, but in my case would be insignificant. And then in terms of fuel, because the fuel for the public transportation in Indonesia is subsidized, so we don't really feel the impact yet in terms of fuel increase, but the non-subsidized, yes, there will be increase. So in general, I mean, I would say that today, well, it's the impact to Indonesia and especially to the logistics sector is not that significant overall. I'm talking about the whole Indonesia. But when it gets prolonged and hopefully not, if there's another war, then of course there will be a bigger impact.
We did speak about a tender you won for a major Indonesian company in our initial call with Parliament. Could you highlight more on that details?
Oh, okay. Actually, I mentioned earlier about this new model from this, the biggest e-commerce company in Indonesia today, where they introduced this new model whereby they connect directly with the shops and warung. So the shops and the warung will the traditional market, they can order through the application, and then our job starts from the order given from the app. So we will do the picking and packing and all, and then also managing the delivery to those shops and warungs. I think it's some say it's kind of a e-distributor model, the new model of distribution, which we all yet to see the success of this project. But from what we are doing today, I think there's a huge potential. And as I also mentioned, that actually they already plan for phase 2, going to 9 cities at once. So I think they're really serious. If it's successful, I'm sure they will duplicate this model to the whole region. And
so, a pure e-distribution model, right?
Well, it's yes, because different people may define differently, because if I ask them, they said, yeah, no. Yeah, because honestly, I mean, one of the potential risks would be, how will it impact the traditional distributor model? Yeah.
So when are you projecting to start this business, by next month or within how many weeks?
Oh, we already started actually 2 weeks ago. So we started from inbound, and we expect to have our first inbound next week. Yeah, getting familiarized with because this is again a slightly different model, variation from what we do. We've been delivering palletized for the past 50 years, and then 2 years ago we started doing e-commerce that was like piece picking. Now this is sort of something in the middle because it's not palletized, it's not really piece picking. So this is cartonized now. So again, we need to make some customization. And again, we work with RM Pro, which has proven the result. So now we are working on that customization, and I'm sure within a month we'll be able to finish and test the system. And again, the potential is huge.
As you said, it's a very new model. It's again a prompt question. What is the learning for you from this? Like what you should, the do's and don'ts basically.
The do's, be agile, be adaptive to the market. As I mentioned, the e-commerce related businesses, can be impacted in somehow. We need to be relevant, So what I meant by agile, meaning quick adaptation and quick decision to adapt with to the market, what's going on, be ready, because I believe we are one of the first mover as a third-party logistic who went into e-commerce, e-fulfillment. So today there aren't many logistics company who are already doing the e-commerce of e-fulfillment, and then stay relevant, and then always be updated with what's happening. I mean, it keeps changing, like almost every day I will read some news. This new startup is doing this thing. Okay, this company is doing this new thing. There's always a new model introduced, and it's very interesting. For me, it's challenging, but also for me, the way I see it, it's a lot of opportunities. And I'm just talking about the e-fulfillment. There is transport platform, which some are already doing or for several years. And still, because Indonesia transportation and logistics model haven't really changed since 50 years ago. So there's a big opportunity basically with the use of technology, and I believe in the technology that will help solve some of the problems, as we can see in other countries.
Do you have any further plans to foray into new countries? If any, please explain.
That's very interesting. Yeah, we always look at that as an opportunity, but at the same time, there was always also opportunities in Indonesia. And for example, since we get the opportunity to work with the e-commerce, that unit has grown, triple, and hopefully we can double this year. And I can still see that we may be able to double next year. So we're already overwhelmed, basically. Yes, it's always interesting to go regional, and we always also look and seek into the opportunity to work with other logistics companies to grow outside Indonesia.
Apart from this, you have any additional announcement, if any, to make?
Well, we are looking into several tech-related opportunities. So we are looking into e-fulfillment service, and then also possibly a transport platform. That is something that we are currently also working on. Hopefully, we can launch in the second semester this year.
Great news. The last question, but it is very important, not the least. When people around the world is trying to find a good company culture, you have started an employee-friendly culture with Kamadjaja Wow. Could you please detail on the same how it works?
Okay, maybe I should start with in Kamadjaja. Usually, I have a 5-year theme. For example, in 2016 to 20, our big theme was digital transformation. So that's how my team work. All department, they have to work around the tech part. We want to make everyone to be technology literate, and that was the time when we built many systems in Kamadjaja. So not only operation, not only in the warehouse, but also HR, procurement, GA. I always ask them to look into how we can improve the process using the technology. Now, in 2021 to 22, I decided to bring the people transformation. As a service company, I realized the importance of people. And in fact, I think about 4 years ago, we founded the Kamadjaja Corporate University because our mission to, we want to grow leaders from Kamadjaja, from our internal employees. And then for this year, for our people transformation, I have also a yearly theme, and this year's theme is Kamadjaja Wow, which is a way of working. So well, I mean, in Bahasa, if I may, because it says 4AS for us, because in Bahasa it's a kerja keras, kerja cerdas, kerja tuntas, kerja ikhlas. So that 4S. Yeah. Basically, we have this 4A's in Bahasa. Now that should make them not only aware, but we want them to also practice this new culture, this way of working, basically, in Kamadjaja.
Iman, for providing your valuable time for us.
You're welcome.
Yeah. And here we come to the end of this interview session. Keep an eye on our upcoming interviews. Watch, like, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Till then, happy listening.